Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Proving Grounds Pod, your one-stop shop for all things Proving Grounds. My name is Smax, and I'm joined by my constant co-host, Cubby. And today, with the big 3-3 on the episode 33, we've got our very own, definitely the top laner of Dignitas Academy, Lourlo.
Hello.
Lourlo, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you. It is definitely our pleasure, as we've gotten the pleasure of watching you play in the Proving Grounds and Academy space throughout the entire year. Recently, just 2-0'd Immortals in the first week of Proving Grounds. We are underway with the second. I guess just generally, how has this year been for you on Dignitas Academy this entire time?
Yeah, honestly, this split has been quite crazy, at least for me, because I think there's a lot of just turmoil in terms of like roster swaps and situations and everyone getting jumbled up, and then we having like Soligo come down, and we had like Yusui at the start, and then we had to kind of like find our groove for like the longest period of time, and then we had like this huge like loss streak of like 6, 7 games, and then we near the end of it kind of picked things back up. But I think right now it's like the best I felt about a team in like a really long time. So I'm like really excited just to play because I think we're always gonna show up and show good performances. I just want everyone to be watching our games, and I'm just like really confident in the 5 guys we have right now. So
that's got like that's can't really beat that feeling, right? Like when you're
yeah.
confident going into games, and I mean you guys have been backing that up. I know that kind of what Smax was referencing, obviously, you playing throughout the entire year. But it seems like a lot of the steps and kind of like where you picked it up, when we started to see it was in UGP, and that's like for that tournament. Or is there any difference for you like playing there versus in academy like during the regular season?
Honestly, the level of play in that tournament kind of feels the same that we've been playing like all year, honestly. Like I think the teams, I think the beginning of the tournament was kind of easy for us. We like for the first few amateur teams, but by the end we're versing academy teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing that just changed with all of us was just our communication, how we talk to each other. And I think like there was a lot of stride in terms of just our setups and us understanding how we wanted to play the game in each individual role. I think a lot of the time teams kind of fumble just understanding each other's role at like a deep level. And I think we took a lot of time to really go in depth to just really break down like what I needed for my game to win, what we needed for like Will's game for jungle to win, and just for basically for every role. So that helped us, I guess, a lot throughout it all.
Is that something like you think was accelerated by the fact like it was like a tournament format, or like is that something that like it's like been going on in scrims all year, but like just kind of came together like in the tournament?
I think it came together in tournament a bit. I think the meta is good for us too. If I'm like, I think we play like our solo lanes kind of play everything, and then we have Will. His style is like just really aggressive and kind of knows what he wants in the game, and we kind of just all are really adaptable to that. Like all our laners are really adaptable, so we just give him what he wants. He always succeeds with it, and then we just play around that. And we have really consistent laners. I think it's like one of our strengths as a team as well. I think we're always either like even at best or even at worst, or in other words, ahead like in most of the games. So yeah.
Yeah. I think the adaptation around Will and like acclimating him to your team has been the most apparent change from the outside looking in, of course. This guy, he's like getting out of high school at 3 p.m. so you can scrim at 3:30 p.m. and he's like crushing it so far. How has it been like putting another rookie on your squad? Because the start of the year it was really just Spawn, and it was a bunch of players who have been around the NA scene for a couple years at the very least. So like getting another fresh face onto the squad, what was that journey like for you and your team?
Yeah, it's been a long one, honestly, but at least for me, like I feel for Will a lot because I came into the scene when I was like 17 out of like I didn't even finish high school. I was out of my junior year of high school. I just came and played for Team Liquid back all the way then. So I really know what he's going through, like wanting to value his time with league. So I just been trying to help him adjust the best he can, like to our team, because I know it's what I would want. Like if like 6 years back now, 23 now, but it's been good. I think he does deal with a lot because he has school from basically like 7 a.m. to like freaking like 3:30, and then he comes back and then we scrim. And we honestly haven't even been like scrimming that much, but the time we do have to scrim together, I think it has been beneficial, even though it's like way smaller than I think anyone wants with our team right now. But yeah, when we do come together, we're all really confident in our own play, and I think we're all playing like really, really insane individually. And I think it's showing. I think it's going to keep showing too.
I like that teaser for the rest of Proving Ground. It's going to keep showing.
Yeah.
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 I like that.
That's the thing that I'm most excited about for you guys is like you started winning you started like winning your win streak, I should say, with the 2-0 against 100 Thieves, swept all through UGP, beat IMT. Like at this point, I'm just along for the ride. Like how long does this ride actually go? Does it go to the very end? I'm like fully invested in this, and I've been trying to tell everyone as well. Like get excited, watch the Dignitas game because they haven't lost in like a month. You gotta watch this. So I've been handing out flyers for you guys. It's been a fun journey. Yeah.
No, honestly, like sorry to cut you off, but like
it's good.
My actual feeling for this team has been I haven't felt like this about a team I played for in a long time. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's just all coming together and all just clicking. I feel like we're really on the same page with everything we're doing. It just feels good. Like I don't know, there's just like not a bad point. Even when we're having hard games, I feel like I can pull everyone together to like make us come out on top. And we really just trust each other with every play. And it's like it's hard to get that trust in a lot of teams, I think, because people have like their stubborn ways to play the game or have ideas how they want to do things, and people always have like different ideas, different, I guess, motivations, goals, aspects, and just a lot of things that just underlie what a team needs to be a team. And I think our team is pretty like humble in that regard, and we kind of just like really just own up to our mistakes and are able to just come together when it counts. And I think it's finally happening. I think we had like a little bit of issues with the beginning when Will was coming into competitive, but I think it's really, I don't know, I'm just really excited for everyone because I think like especially for like Will and Spawn, I think they're definitely players to watch. Like for LCS, I think teams should definitely pick them up. They're crazy players. Like I think like my whole team in general too. I think everyone's playing crazy, but those two in particular have been stepping up really big.
It's pretty neat to see like both of them kind of play. Like feels like you guys you've kind of been hitting on it, but I think meta swap helps, but it's also like you kind of have a style now that it feels like fits the strengths of what you have, right? Because thinking of Spawn back in Polar Race and Scouting Grounds, like early season, a really elite team fighter. Like that is definitely where he excels. And Will, pretty raw from solo queue. I know talking with him, he had a lot to learn, like picking up kind of competitive at the level he was, going from Dig Mig on amateur, like not making OQs to now winning an amateur tournament in less than 2 months is hella impressive. And you've also kind of spoken the fact that like it feels like you kind of take up some of the mantle of like kind of developing these guys, right? Like saying I've been around for 6 years, or I remember like how it was back then, like for me, and like I'm trying to like help these guys out now. Like what kind of shaped that like mindset for you, or like if there are like any like specifics of like something that you didn't have when you were first coming up, like you're trying to like do for Will now, like what kind of like goes into that? Because it definitely feels like, you know, you've taken on a mantle of kind of being not only like a leader in the game, but also outside the game, like for these guys too.
Yeah, I think in general, I just know the amount of pressure. Like I've been in the pressure for so long that comes with playing pro league, and especially when you're that young or that new to something, I just like want to take that burden off them because I know how to cope with it better than they do, and that's just a fact because I've been here for longer. So
that's a classic,
like whenever
classic baseball manager strategy, right? Just go say something dumb to the press, so the player that heats off the players, right?
Yeah, so there's even a joke on my team, like I just say everything's my fault, like everything's top laner's fault, because I don't want them to feel anything. Like I just want them to play at their best selves, and I'll take all the blame. If we lose, it's my fault. If the play goes wrong, of course we like look at it, but it's like a joke. Yeah, it's top laner's fault, Sam's fault. It's just like I'd rather have it be my fault than their fault because I want them to be in their best frame of mind because I know they play best when they're like just like clear, if they're not like over pressured, over stressed, because I know what they're capable of if they're not like overthinking things. So I just try to take that burden off them because I know I can handle like that pressure, that stress. So
Do they even it out? Like when you guys win games, is it also your fault?
nah, I just give them praise. If we win, God bless them, dude. Carry me.
Wow.
Thank you.
Good job, Will. You get lunch at school tomorrow.
Humble as ever. Wow.
Yeah.
I would definitely have just taken that and ran. Like, oh, if we lose, it's on me. If we win, it's on me too. I'm popping up. Okay.
That's when you screenshot like the Nar win, right? And you just like
Yeah.
like throw it in the chat, add like another game to it, you know.
Your Nars
I haven't
insane.
played that. I'm not an R1 trick, I promise. Don't ban it, please. I want to play him, please.
So, speaking of champion pools, I think the thing that people, if they've been watching Academy for this split, will remember of Will is like his debut couple weeks. He was playing like these crazy champions like the Kane and the Rek'Sai and that sort of
He won on
style.
Rek'Sai.
Yeah, true. It seemed unthinkable at the time to actually pull out a win on Rek'Sai. I remember being very skeptical, but you guys like made that work, and I think that from the outside looking in, it feels like just like buying in to the way that your like new player is wanting to work through the game. Ended up being like the biggest thing for you guys. Do you feel the same way around like getting that play style in specific to work, or do you think that like he's also done some adapting to what you guys were doing before?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a mix. I think we are kind of melding into what he wants a lot because it's just easier that way because it's kind of all he knows from solo queue. Like we have pretty experienced players, at least with me, Saligo, he's been around for at least like 2-3 years, and then JJ kind of leads most like the bot lane laning stuff. And he's been around for a while too. So we kind of just have an understanding of like the different ways to play the game and like the strengths around it, and we just adjust basically to him, and we cater to him a lot because we want him to like perform at his best. And what he knows is like is gonna be his best right now because he hasn't been around for so long. But yeah, I know what he does is like he's just really good at getting a lead in basically like, every game. He knows how to get a lead for himself, and like not every player can do that, and he's like pretty consistent with it. So yeah, we just let him do his thing, and he usually is always like level up, has gold lead, and we're usually just consistent in lane, so it works.
Yeah. I guess this might be a hard question to answer like in a short way, but do you feel like the way that you're playing now and like the success that you're finding would have been possible with Acadian still on the roster, or was like that like shift from when Will joined the team like a just very like big paradigm shift for you guys, and like it just like changed it up so drastically that wouldn't be possible?
I think the dynamic, stumbling over my words a bit, but the dynamic with Acadian was a bit different. I think I wasn't as vocal as I am now with like decisions for our team. I think I like kind of trusted like Matt in that regard, Acadian, to make a lot of the upfront decisions with like how we're playing the game and how we do things. But I think now I've taken up more of that role, and I think we would have performed really well with Matt too. I think it's just hard to say. I think right now with how our team's like heading, I think we're in a really good spot. It's just really hard to say if we would have performed the same way, better or worse with him or not. But yeah, I think the biggest difference is just me, I think, stepping into a different position basically. Because I think from my perspective, like the dynamic of when Matt was here, I was kind of way less vocal, like in terms of like our mid to late game calling and just how we play around the map. But now it's like I think I take a lot of that burden to make the right calls for us in the game to like push the game forward.
It's all your fault, you know?
It's all my fault, guys.
Yeah.
Goes back to that, yeah.
I figured that was okay to ask because he did play like really well in the last few games for DIGA and LCS. So I big Acadian fan myself. So
he's been playing well too, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like thinking about that sort of thing. But yeah, it's definitely like a weird thing to ask, and I think that's a really cool sort of like self-reflection that you can do, is just like taking on a more mentorship role within the game has sort of led to like self-improvement stuff, I guess you could say, because being more vocal and everything is definitely a good thing. So I think it's really cool.
Well, it depends. You have 4 talkers, Max. Sometimes you got to shut up. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
No, it's kind of like fun to hear, and I mean it's always interesting to me, like kind of being on like that other side of teams too, because we see teams, you know, like playing better, playing worse, but it's always interesting to hear like what goes into that, because it's always something that's kind of difficult to find out, and there isn't a ton of media coverage around this level of play, so it's fun to kind of hear you guys integrating Will in all that, and just also finding an identity that works for you. I think that I mean, this makes you guys a pretty exciting team for the rest of Proving Grounds, because you're still in the upper bracket. You're coming off a hot streak. You won the last tournament. And I'm kind of curious, like, if you've been watching other games, like, who do you have your eyes on? Like, what kind of other teams do you have in your sights now? Obviously, you have a matchup this week against FlyQuest, the team that was #1 the regular season, and dropped out early in playoffs. They're coming off of a pretty close best-of-3 versus Zeus, but where do you have your sights set? What team's looking at, Lourlo?
I'm not scared of anyone. I think we're gonna win the whole tournament. I'm like confident to say it. Like I think if we keep the trajectory that we're at right now, I really think we're gonna steamroll this tournament at a good pace. So I'm just happy that because even if we don't, like I would rather have the confidence going into it. But I'm really just excited for our team, because I think there's a lot to be, I guess, just looked upon and just watch out for, just like our improvements, I guess. 'Cause I think we're showing to game, set to set. And I think we're only going to keep getting better.
Well, you got 2 pretty good tests ahead of you, and #1 regular season team in FlyQuest, and then likely Team Liquid Academy, who are the top dogs coming into the tournament as the Academy victors. So, and hey, Resolve knocking off C9, I think proves what you said, the level of competition being similar in UGP. I mean, it does feel like the tournament where still any team can beat anyone, which is part of the fun. And
I'm
also
surprised by that one.
Yeah.
The results. Yeah. I could not, because we play versus them, and like no disrespect to Resolve, but I thought they were gonna get smashed, because we smashed them in UGP. Like that was one of our easier sets. Like they didn't really play versus us, and then I think they versus C9. I'm like, they actually won. I think there was kind of draft gap. Resolve had way better
It's
draft.
the 15 seed power up, you know. That's they
did it both times.
Yeah.
Almost like, wow, that was crazy. Like I really didn't expect it.
Game 1 draft gap. I would agree with you on. I like the TF and I like the 3 melees.
Yeah, because to me it's like I need to watch back the games, but I was just really impressed that they were able to take those games, because to me it's like C9 is probably one of the best teams in the tournament, like from my opinion, like going into it, even like disregarding even just like seeding, just like player wise too, from like who I think is like good going into the tournament. And I was like, wow, because like from our set, I felt like they were like kind of deserving for that 15th seed, but they really proved me wrong. So props to them.
Yeah. I'm behind on the games as I was out of town this weekend. But I saw game 1 of theirs, and yeah, the Twist of Fate. I was really surprised when I saw like 3 melees and low engage picked into like a TF comp, because it felt like it was like, unless like Galio like, just goes nuts early. What's up?
Array popped off too on the Tristana.
And you're playing Trist with
free
like,
hitting
Orn TF Lee Sin against like a low range no engage comp. That was Array is a good team fighter, so that was definitely a good opportunity for him to pop off.
Orn is broken. Or not an LCS, you just free scale, you craft some items. We got late game, boys. No one closes. We got late game.
just chilling top lane down 80 CS. Like, we're good.
We're good, guys. They won't end. They're too bad.
Guys, I can ult this wave. We killed it. Oh yeah. No, that's it's interesting though. Like, I mean, I think it was a surprise to me, like Resolve knocking off C9 as well. But it still is a tournament where it feels like everyone can beat everyone, and also like this is something where amateur being incorporated into this is new. And you're a player who, before you were on Team Liquid, you played in the Challenger Series, or like some of those tournaments. And kind of like from your perspective, like what's this season been like for you? Like kind of having the wall knocked down again, and having like these big capstone tournaments that have 16 teams instead of 10.
That's been fun, honestly. Like I just love like the I guess just the more prestige to it. I feel like Proving Ground just has a little more prestige to it than the actual academy season, and also just like the best of threes, best of fives is always just nice to like see your level as a team.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a big switch because it was like even just like spring split. If you go back, like spring split, we only played 9 games. We played 9 games in
Yeah.
academy, and
Yep.
then we went to Proving Grounds, and it was just like really weird. And then everyone was like, at least from our team, was like complaining like, why did we not get any games? We feel like we didn't like level up all split, and then we like some of the teams that got dropped on like the last chance qualifier of that split like came out way better, like EG Academy and like even like GGS at the time. Like they
Yep.
improved way more than I think we did. But I think this time, honestly, it was like going to UGP is honestly it's like a benefit for us. I think we got so much out of that tournament and just like going forward, we just like if we didn't go to that tournament, I think we wouldn't be the team we are right now. So I'm like in a way I'm just grateful that we did get that experience even if it was like more I guess just like playtime stress for all of
Right.
us, we got so much more out of it than I think a lot of teams did.
That was the consensus of every single person that we talked to in the spring. Because we had a bunch of these episodes there, and we talked to like a bunch of academy players, a bunch of Proving Grounds players,
A
and
bunch of like ex Academy players too, like
Yeah.
Viper, Fnatic. They're all like, dude, I'm so glad I played here, right? Because they had
Yeah.
70 plus games coming into Proving Grounds.
Yeah,
You had
Right.
yeah,
none.
no, I thought it was like such a big advantage, honestly. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to feel that right now. Like I think even playing this tournament, I think we're at a big advantage in like all the other top 6 academy teams. I think we're better. Like we're just better.
You just
Because
played
I think
20
we
plus
played more.
competitive games, yeah.
Yeah, we just played more, and I think we're better on like playing with each other than the other teams because they just haven't played as much with each other, and we
Yeah.
really just understand each other more. So it's like that is a clear advantage. Is why I can be so confident too, because it's like it feels so easy because we've been playing so many games together, and we
No,
have so much like synergy built up.
There is some validity to that because I think that both GGA and EG qualified through that circuit and last split, and they both top sixth.
Yeah.
With EG
He was top 4 after placing 10th.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, there's something to be said about like trial by fire, right? Like, you can't emulate the competitive environment in scrims. Like, no matter how much you try, like it's like you know that, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't do it. And I mean, like for you guys, not only is it that coming together as a team, but also figuring out a patch. Like that's a big part of the game. And you get what 20 plus games in the patch. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Different patch though, because PG is on
It's close
2 later. But
with auction for
It
whatever
is
reason.
different, but I think the biggest thing we found out is like how we want to play as a team through that
Mhm.
tournament, like what our strengths and weaknesses are, because it really shows in like those higher pressure games. Like, oh, we can't play this style. Why? Like, what do we need to like fix that? And it's like, oh, we can play this style. We're winning consistently on it. Let's just keep doing that, and maybe change a few picks and like fine tune that, right? And I think that's like the biggest thing that we, like at least I saw with our team is like, wow, I really can see our strength and weaknesses like very clearly, and that like we can plan around that like really easily because in academy sometimes you just like throw games and just like lose games like during the season because you don't really know what you want to play or like what you want to
Yep.
do. But I think now we kind of have our style like panned out and just what we want to play and like yeah, it makes it so much easier to like plan around that.
I guess this is a good time to bring up something that maybe not a lot of people know, but your team was actually planning on playing in one of the like tier 2 tournaments before the roster change, and then that sort of flipped everything on its head. How much of like what you just said about just like a lot of more playtime affecting like teams like Golden Guardians and Evil Geniuses in Spring went into that decision for you and your team? Because what was that tournament? It was Challengers Uprising, right? You guys were gonna.
Yeah, it was one of the I think one of the
Risen.
first or second. Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
Risen.
It was
Yeah.
Risen.
Because
That's when it changed.
at first I was pretty skeptical about joining because I didn't want to play in the ping. But then we talked about it as a team more. I'm like, we're gonna have to play in that ping and proving grounds anyways. We're an amateur team, so it's like, why not just get the games in? Because I was talking like Cadian actually before he got moved to LCS was really vouching for it. He really wanted to play the extra games because he thought it would just improve our team like exponentially. And then since he got moved up, we weren't able to, and like the roster got jumbled up, we weren't able to actually play in that tournament. But I think our level of play probably would have improved at a even like more rapid pace if we did get to play in that tournament too. Because I think it would have shown what we were like struggling on faster. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like when you play, like even if I think like way back to like my beginning times in like LCS when I was like a rookie player, like I learned so much from the actual matches. Like especially when you play on stage, like the high pressure games, like you learn so much not only about yourself but like, about your team too, and you really can just like adjust that going to game if you have like the right mindset towards it. And I think, yeah, it wasn't like until like the UGP tournament where like the pressure felt, I guess, higher for us because we kind of needed to win that to qualify for Proving Grounds, and I think all of us felt that. While like the end of Academy, like we didn't have, of course we were trying to play for pride and stuff, but there wasn't really that much we were playing for near the end of it. Like there was just like eighth or like
Yeah,
ninth seed basically,
yeah.
right? So like the level wasn't there, but like once we felt that level, like in UGP, that was like it was kind of like a do or die situation. I think it really like showed what we needed to improve on, and that really like helped us get to where we are now.
So off the back of that, like, if you could like kind of model Academy to like look like the way that like you would want it to look like, would it be kind of how it looks like now? Would it be more tournaments? Would it be like more regular season play? What do you, because I think that competitive matches are like you can't emulate it for development, right? And so like I think that like the changes that were made this year were like definitely a stride towards more development, but like would you want to see them even like index harder into tournaments and tournament games for you guys? Like, because it feels like that's been a big part of like your improvement, kind of the trial by fire, right?
Yeah, I think a lot. The thing that's missing, honestly, is kind of COVID. I think COVID kind of wrecked Academy. Because before, I remember when 2019, when I was on Equifox Academy, we got stage time. And
Yeah.
what happened back then too is you like the LCS games would be played, and then I think one or two Academy teams would play after the LCS with like the fans there still, and you'd
Yeah.
feel that pressure of like actual match games, and even the playoffs were played on the stage too. And I think that's the biggest thing that's separated Academy this year. And I think what something that'd be cool is like I think if COVID does get better, which hopefully it does, to a point where like Proving Grounds can actually be fielded as like a whole tournament that everyone comes to. They like fly everyone out, and it's like a whole big event that is like hosted by Riot, and everyone's there and can actually like have that pressure and actually have like even more prestige towards it. Because I think something like that would be really cool. But I think for like the regular season Academy games, I think it really did miss the mark because we couldn't play on the stage, especially
Yeah.
the experience of it all. And I think like one of my players, he's brand new player like Spawn, even Will, they haven't even like played in the studio. Like the only time he went to the studio was like take some pictures. And it's like that's unheard of for like any pro player to not even like grace the LCS studio from like his whole first year of playing. It's just because of COVID. And it just sucks.
That'd
Because
be
like
that'd be so sweet to like have even on like LCS days. Like the games after like something, but I want games like a prelude. Like if you like tune in the stream like an hour 30 minutes, like the Academy people like on stage and like show up early and like watch them if you like get out of work early or something like that. Like that'd be so cool. Like just having like one or two overflow games kind of played, or like a best of two in this case, right? Um, that's actually yeah. I
no,
now that you bring
another
it
thing,
up, I
sorry to cut
forgot
you
about
off.
stage games.
Yeah, another thing, sorry to cut you off really that quick, but I think another thing that could help Academy too is just rebranding. Like I would hope to see Academy get rebranded like next year. Personally, I've something I really want for the scene because I think what EU Masters does, like in if you compare to like the NBA or like the G League for the second league, like the pathway to like pro or whatever, it should be like there could be like a sponsor for like the second league. It should just be like there needs to be more prestige for Academy because
Yeah.
of course it is not. If it's gonna stay around, there needs to be more prestige for it because back when Academy was like 2018, 2019, people watched it way more. And there was like the viewership was better, like everyone was like kind of excited for it, and a lot of it like dropped off. But I think if something like that does change and like they rebrand to something like sponsor related or not, and like bring more prestige with it, I think people will have their eyes on it more. Because I think EU Masters like brings in so many viewers and so much like hype. Not only because it is Europe, but I think NA can do a way better job at it too.
This is a conversation that we often have as like people on the broadcast for Academy, and
just as a reminder, Cubby, you are awake. You are not dreaming. He did just say that. Cubby's been very, very adamant about that exact thing for a while.
So,
but yeah, it's really crazy in Europe, as you said. The EU Masters stream is like when that's live, and like they do it on that stream and the LEC stream.
40 to
LEC
80,000.
has like EU has like 80,000. The LEC channel is like 200 because everyone knows where to go for it. Like they do a very good job around that, and I think you're 100% right. It would do them a lot of favors, and you guys a lot of favors too, as the people who are in it. I think that's 100% true.
I
and
will
that
say
they
that
should definitely look into.
a big part about this conversation and discussion is the fact that native language broadcasts are something that we cannot emulate over here. And the fact that, there's a French league in French and Spanish league, or Super Ligas in Spanish, right? That definitely helps like relate to those viewers, right? That's their native language. And like nothing beat like they emulated what World Cup soccer is. Nothing beats like I don't even like I'm not a huge fan of soccer. I throw away everything to like go watch World Cup games, right? Like it's so fun. Like watch and like that's what they're emulating essentially, right? And so I don't know like if you could like find like Proving Grounds like obviously tries, but it's not close or the same prestige as you're mentioning. And I think like I have been all for like the rebrand for like Academy. Like it feels like where's LCS? It's literally half the LCS logo. Like it is
pretty
it's
funny.
not fair. Like so I'm all in on that for you. But there's like definitely a lot of things that, like is an uphill battle. Like I think native language broadcasts are huge. I mean, K Corp like when they play, oh my god, it's like they get like 400,000 viewers like when they were in the finals or whatever it was like last. But that's ridiculous. Like yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping for that as much as you are. And I mean, we're still holding out hope that like Scouting Grounds is in person at the end of this year. I don't know how likely that is, but that'd be pretty cool just to cap off the year. But yeah, it'd be so nice to go back to like in-person Academy stuff. I might have to move over to California if that happens. That'd be fun. But
No, I think definitely because COVID just kind of ruined a lot of it in terms of like the development of it all. And I hope it gets switched because if it can, I hoping for it.
yeah, how far away is Will, by the way, from where you guys are?
He's about like 5-6 hour. What does it
Okay,
sound?
so he's what?
Yeah.
He's West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not. Yeah, like our flight. Forget the exact
It's not,
place.
not like Tommy playing
That teammate.
80 ping. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
No.
For,
He's like.
playoffs.
He's like. Yeah. No. He's fine. He came to visit us for a little bit. Like he was here
Oh,
for
that's cool.
JJ talked
about
about that. In the
yeah,
postgame,
about like
yeah.
2 weeks I think, and because it was before his school started, but they had to go back for school. It was like his summer break.
Yeah.
Boot camping with Dig for his summer break.
What a freak. He's just built different, I guess.
It's
That's
funny.
awesome. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But he was here for 2 weeks. It was fun. Good kid.
Yeah. I love the team picture where you've got him on the screen behind you.
Oh,
that
that
is
was
so funny.
He's like, just what am I doing here? He's like, why do I have to be in the picture?
So did
He's
you guys like
got
do
pure
any like fun
comedy.
like team building activities like while he was there, or like go out like to eat or whatever?
Yeah, we took him to Din Tai Fung. It's a really good Chinese place. I don't think he ever had like dumplings like that before. So he has like some dumplings tried for his first time, and then we played like volleyball as a team. Like after scrims, we had like
What?
we were just like doing like 3-on-3s with the coach because Gabe,
yeah.
our coach, we just did 3-on-3s. He rated me as like
will you
one of the best
take
volleyball
a,
players. So
will you
take
take a washed up master tier support player on your Dignitas Academy team, please? I want
Just
to
to
play
play
volleyball.
Yeah.
Please.
you guys can come.
Yeah, I
Then
haven't
we make
played
it
volleyball
4-on-4s.
in so long.
No, I'm pretty bad, but he was saying Will thought I was good. I'm just like, okay, I'll take it.
I am really short. I can jump though. I'm
Okay.
not bad at
It's
volleyball.
probably okay. So beach volleyball it is. So take the hops away.
Yeah. That's all. I haven't played it indoor actually.
Yeah,
I
we
haven't
were
played
we were
it
doing
indoor.
beach volleyball. We were doing
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like a little like a sound.
That's the way to
yeah.
go.
It was fun.
I love
LA
volleyball.
scene. That's it's been cool like talking with a lot of the teams like obviously what you guys do outside the game because that is part of being a team, right? Like going out to eat, doing escape rooms, like just doing fun stuff together. And like for you, like it's also like a big part of like just winding down. Like so like what are like some of like your favorite things to like do with like on your own or like with your team in that aspect? Just like how do you wind down? Like from like what do you do like with the team to like try and like build that up?
Honestly, I've just been super like usually I would take like the years more, I guess, tame, but I think this year I've just been kind of overcommitted to a point of like I haven't really taken a break for myself to a point. I've just been like playing scrims and then I've been doing like a shit ton of like 1v1s with other top players. When Fake God was in season 2, we just like I would just do like 1v1s right after scrims from like 6:30 to like 9:30, and we just play 3 hours of 1v1s and like all the matches out of practice and just
Hmm.
understanding like what I wanted out of the day, and then I would just like play solo queue till like 1 a.m. and then go to bed and do it again. I've been doing that for like I've just been grinding so much, but I watch a show here and there. I don't really take too many breaks, so. And then on the off days, I've been going to the beach. Like on my off days, I would go walk on the beach and just
Nice.
like relax, and that's like
Yeah.
been
LA
the
life.
point of like my off day. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I just been, I don't know. This year for me is like I really, I don't know. I think I made a lot of improvements for myself, but I don't think it's the point I'm like want to like reach right now. I think I still can get just way better for myself individually, and I just want to just showcase that I'm capable of playing LCS again because that's like my overarching goal for myself personally. And I think I made a lot of improvements that I'm happy and like proud of this year, but I think there's still more to go. But like I'm looking to just hopefully win this tournament and try to get back in the LCS. That's my goal.
I'm hoping to see it, man. Like I said, I've been the biggest evangelist of Dignitas Academy for the past month, so
So it's religion now?
I'm getting excited for you guys.
Kind of nervous
What?
about the mascot if it's religion.
It's Digi. It's the little guy.
Oh, you
Look
look
at
at
him.
him.
He's right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's him. I love those little like the emotes that they put on Twitter of his face and everything. It's very funny.
Yeah, but the craziest thing for this split too is like I haven't played like a year this long in so long. Like we've played all the way to
This is
September. I
true.
usually be off season like ways because I'm like playing more than I've ever played before. Like I'm just like
You got an extra
grinding
month.
insane hours, and I'm just like 14-hour, 16-hour days for myself, and just like no breaks and just going crazy and just trying to like get in form and get everyone else in form. And yeah, I'm just like all in because I really want to win this tournament like more than anything right now, and I just really want to win and
It's
doing whatever it takes.
it is fun to like hear that fire, right? Because I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
like you've been competing for a long time, and I know that like it's always like rare, like in a scene that's like so competitive, where like you have to like take advantage like the windows, like you feel like hey, like we can win, right? Like that's not always going to be the case. Like there's only one winner and there's 10 teams or 16 in this case, right? So like you really have to like put foot to the gas like when you do feel that, and it's kind of like cool to like hear you at least being in the middle of that, because like you feel like you have a window, and you guys are playing damn good leagues. So it's cool to like kind of hear the fire coming out of you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like it's been a while, honestly, since I feel like a team at this level that I'm like so confident in. Because I think
Yeah.
there was times where I felt like even in like TL, I think was a good example in like different periods of like my career, like through LCS or Academy. There's been times where I feel like really confident in the team, but I think this team is just built different right now. I think we're just on the upward trajectory, and I think it's not going to stop. I don't know. I think every game we play, we're just playing better, and I think we're learning more about each other, and we're just understanding the game at a higher level. And I think it's like I'll be surprised if we don't finish like top two, top four in this tournament. I'll be really surprised if for some reason we just start losing, because to me it feels like it's really hard for us to lose an actual match game right now.
Yeah, it seems that way. What do you think is like the biggest factor of that compared to the other teams that you have been on over your career? Because it's been, I think, like 6 years. You said you were 17 when you started, so
Yeah.
what do you think that biggest thing is?
I think this team is just really willing to listen to each other and just understand how each other want to play the game, and we're just not really just stubborn to the point of like it's getting in the way of things. I think we're just like accepting our mistakes, accepting the losses we're taking in the game, and just really improving from them. And we're just always on the same page recently with like what we want to do in the game. And I feel like at least for like the calls I'm making in the game, everyone really trusts and listens to me too. So it feels really like refreshing that I can just like say something in the game and basically everyone's gonna follow it, like even if it's not the right thing to do. And it's been like it's like hard to get to that with a lot of teams, because I think we all kind of do that for each other. If like someone calls for something, of course we have like a back button to it sometimes, but for the most part, it's like we trust the decision that that person's calling the game, and maybe it doesn't turn out for the best in that situation, but it gets us where we need to be in most of the games. So it's just nice to have that overarching trust. 'Cause I think the biggest thing of like any team game, any like team sport, just it's just like breaking that barrier of just like, can I trust this guy? Like, should I trust this guy? Is he gonna get me the win? Like, just building that over time is something really, really important. And I think a lot of teams struggle with it like every year, with, like just in league and different games. And it's nice knowing that we have that right now.
How much has your coach Invert interacted in that way? Because he's someone that Cubby and I at least have gotten the chance to interact with on like broadcasts and stuff throughout the year. He's been like on for like Challengers Uprising, and I think he was on the Unified Spring too. Really smart guy, very good at being on a broadcast, which was really cool. Like not every coach is good at that, but how much has he contributed for that aspect, like the trust and everything that you're describing for your team right now?
No, another thing for at least for him, I'm really grateful that he was able to, before I get into like him as a coach, but like the biggest thing was he was able to find Will and like build a connection with him, because I don't think there's be no way in hell we'd have Will without him. Like he's the reason Will's on our team basically, because he was like in talks with him and like his dad for a while, and then he kind of like integrated him into the team and like made his dad trust him, and then Will trust him as well. So like kind of built all that between like them three, and then yeah, him as a coach, I think he's been just great in terms of like getting us to see the right things in the game. And then I think a lot like he gets to see the right things, and then me and Saligo for the most part in review. And then also Katie has been helping us a little bit in review recently, but like attack the things we really want to improve on. I think we kind of like are the overarching like people that do that for the most part. I kind of just like try to hammer things into people, because I think it does come off better if it is from like player to player. I feel like you get more, like at least from me, if they're like hearing it from me. I think he does like steer us in the right direction for a lot of things, but I really try to make like I'm like talking to Will about something, I really want him to like understand the importance of it. And same thing for like Trevor and Spawn, like the newer guys. And I really try to make them like see the reason for things, because I don't want them to just play like on autopilot, because I know they're good on autopilot, but if they put a little more thought into things, it's going to be like,
You don't win on autopilot, right?
yeah, the level we can get to is way, way higher. So just making them see the importance of certain situations and aspects of the game, because yeah, it's just really important.
It's definitely something like with your squad as well. I mean, like a lot of being a good coach is like fitting the mold of like what your team is, and if you have like you and Katie and JJ like helping out with reviews, like your job really is to just kind of steer things your way, because you're right, like things are not going to come off as well from the coach as unless like the players that kind of lighten the fire. So that's kind of like fun to hear. And also I don't think a lot of people like realize that Will was on Dig Mig at the start of the year. Like he played with your amateur squad for Cup OQs, and so like this has definitely been something that Invert and your org's been at least trying to build up for a while, and kind of a diamond in the rough. You think about picking up a late jungler like late in the season like you guys had, and you find Will, and now you guys won the last tournament and are 2-0 in Proving Grounds. That's not bad.
Yeah, no, I was actually really impressed with him when I first started playing with him. I was like surprised that just like the thing that I think about when I play with players is just like their level of like intuition towards the game, because I don't think a lot of players actually have it like within League. It's just like just picking the right fights and understanding like his windows and just like strengths in the game, and he just had it all. Like when I first started playing with him, of course he had like a lot of like things that he needed to like get together in terms of like competitive aspect.
You cannot do this in comp, right?
Yeah, like you just like overarch and do things like really crazy, but like his understanding of the game was like a really high level, and not many players have that like ability. And I just saw that within him at like a really early stage. I was like, when we did like tryouts for a new jungler, I was like, it just felt right to get him, because even though he wasn't like at the best of the time from like some of the trials we were doing, I think, yeah, like the level we could get him to and like meld him into, I think was going to be higher than like any of the other like candidates. So
yeah, you had to do that really fast too, because it was a pretty quick turnaround to get.
Yeah, it was like literally like a couple days of tryouts, and then we just picked the guy, and it's like, oh, that's our guy. Let's take him.
Yeah.
Pray and hope he does well.
Yeah, I mean it works,
Yeah, how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I love the like Invert like talk to his dad and everything. That like Invert's the guy doing that.
Welcome
That's
to sports,
pretty
man.
awesome. Yeah, exactly. We know that like some of the academy teams and some of the teams like in Proving Grounds in general have had some support from like the LCS rosters and the LCS like coaching staff and everything. You mentioned Acadian is helping you guys out. Is anyone else from the LCS roster doing that?
Not really. Jimmy, the LCS head coach, was helping a little bit at the very end of like their season, and then we did some internal scrims versus like the LCS guys before their season ended, which we did well versus them. Just saying. We did very well, very well. Gotta add that there. And but yeah, they haven't really helped us. Yeah, scrims going well, even versus internals. But yeah, they're not really helping us that much. I think a lot of it is Kenny's helping us a bit now, which I'm grateful for. But I think a lot of it's just been like me, Saligo, and just Invert and JJ doing a lot of like the draft prep and just review and how we want to run the team.
Yeah, it's like an extra thing that they could do. It's just really cool that Acadian's doing that. I know.
Yeah.
I know you guys are friends. I saw your tweet earlier. You're like telling people to follow him so you can match your follower count. It was very fun.
Yeah.
I liked especially APA's response was just like, or we could just unfollow you.
I didn't think that went through. I'm like, ah, shit, maybe I just lost like 2K followers off this one. This is going bad. He had shot me with that one for sure.
That was very funny. So for you, like on Twitter and on Twitch and everything, how like easy does all of that come to you? Like to just like turn on a stream after like a day of scrims or something, or like on an off day, and just like interact with a bunch of people on there? Because I know that's something that you've been doing for a long time, but isn't something that comes naturally to most players. I would say is like most players just want to do their own thing. And
no, for real, yeah. I think at least for me, I kind of there's a lot to this. I guess I got kind of melded into it when I was on TL. I think their whole thing with me is like when I was first on TL, it was like I stayed there for like 2017, and then they wanted me to like really get into streaming and like be like a franchise player and like build a brand and like do these things and like really try to meld me into like that. And so I really like got more invested into like streaming and like making a YouTube channel, like just getting on social media. But I think so that where like it all kind of started. But like for me personally, it's like it's never been really that hard to stream up until like this year. I think I've been trying to like find a balance towards the level of play I want to show to like for my competitive aspect. I think I have taken more time off streaming than I have in a while, just because this year I have just more value towards just like my practice off stream and just really putting in like effort. It feels like I can get more some days if I don't stream, and some days I feel like I can get the same amount of effort if I do stream, and vice versa. But for the most part, I do understand that a lot of players just don't have it come naturally, and it's just like streaming is like another burden. Because like if you play scrims like for 5-6 hours a day, and then you're trying to like stream another like 3 to 4 or 5 hours, it is really taxing. Because I put like all my energy and juice into all the scrims. I'm like talking for the whole part of the day. I'm like saying a lot in review, like basically talking for 40 like for 5 hours straight if we're scrimming those type of days. So when it comes to like streaming, talking again for another 5 hours is going to be taxing. But I do love streaming. I think there's a part of me that I do just love, because I just like just be able to showcase what I can do as a player and just like hang out with a bunch of like just friendly, familiar faces that I've like built up from like all the years I've been playing. And yeah, I'm just like grateful that people still come and watch my stream, even though I haven't been in the LCS for about like 2 to 3 years. So it does feel good that people still are like excited to watch me play, even though if it's like less than it was before. And I hope I can just keep like my goal is to keep turning heads, and I just want that not only for myself but the people watching me, because I know they want that too.
It's kind of a cool way to look at it, and also like it's kind of wild like streaming. I mean, it's like having however many people are viewing, like sit in your living room and like watching you play games. Like that's pretty crazy,
Yeah.
And I mean, props to anyone that decides to boot up scrims or the stream after a day of scrims, because God knows that I don't. And not that I have much to stream. I can't play at the same level as you guys, but I mean, that's a lot of work. And I think that, the fact that like you're going into year 6 and like still putting in that like time and effort, like that's crazy, man. Like that's, I'm wrapping up year 1 of casting pretty much, and I'm gassed. So
It's hard.
wherever you're drawing upon that energy to do it, it's that's pretty cool, and definitely something that I think is like really respectable from like any player that's like really putting that in. I know that, like streaming is somewhat of like another form of income, but still, it's a lot of time and effort to like do that on top of playing, what your job is, which is perform at the highest level in scrims, right, and on stage. So that's wild that you guys are like able to do that.
Yeah, I remember like a ton of times where I would just like be my insomniac self, and I'm on East Coast, so I would just be like sitting in my bed, like can't sleep. It's 2 a.m. where I am. Just pop up Twitch. Oh, Lourlo streaming.
Niles and Lourlo, probably live, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just hang out in there, watch some top lane gameplay, even though I've never been a top laner. Just
Appreciate that.
fun
Appreciate
time.
that.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true, but it is true for the past few years, But yeah, we're about. I think we're about at that hour mark, but we do have to get some hopium in from you as a player in North America. Be honest with us. How good is NA going to be at Worlds this year?
Honestly, I was kind of optimistic for a little bit when TL was doing really well, and then I saw them lose 100 Thieves. I'm like, all right, maybe 100 Thieves is just great, or TL is not as good as I thought they were. And then I'm just like, that's my big question mark now, because I thought TL was gonna win really easily the whole thing.
Most people did, yeah.
And then I saw them lose, and I'm like, all right, maybe we're even better than I thought, question mark, or we're back to where I always thought we were, which is not that good.
Closer and FBI did pop off in that series. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm optimistic. I think the rosters we actually have going in can actually turn some heads. I think 2 out of 3 at least getting out of groups, hopefully.
Okay.
That'd be a record, by the way.
And
since season 4, I don't think that's happened.
Really? Oh my god, okay.
Season 4 was C9 and
Maybe
TSM.
reworded that.
Oh god, maybe I'm going back to 1 out of 3.
let me double check that. But no, it's weird because it's kind of a meme to just shit on NA at Worlds, but also like I want the hopium, man. There's like the thing missing of like being like a fan of like esports, that like I get like being a fan of like the Cubs, or a good example coming into Sunday would be the Bears as football's back, where I just get to say stupid shit about my favorite sports team, and I think they might be good this season. Now for the Bears, it's gonna be tough, but we got Justin Fields, man. That's some hopium there. So I'm just like really embracing the vibes. It's like, I'm just gonna say stupid shit about NA, and so the stupid shit I'm gonna say, I think 100 Thieves can make it out of any group they get in.
Ooh.
That's my injection of hopium.
I think TL is the best chance, personally.
I think so too, but if Closer and FBI keep playing at the level we saw in playoffs, then I think 100 Thieves are, which is the best we've seen out of those two players. But oh my god, Closer was...
Yeah, no, he was kind of gapping.
Yeah,
Centaur in that last set.
Closer was insane.
I gotta give him that.
Yeah.
No, for sure. It's hard to say. I think, I don't know, man. Like the Eastern teams are kind of wild. Like China and Korea are kind of going crazy always.
The Chinese teams are, yeah. Like even
But
LG is terrifying with Tarzan.
Yeah,
that's the team that's terrifying. Cubby. What about the other ones?
It's exactly like it's the reason I say is that they're the 4 seed.
They have too many good teams, bro. It's too crazy, honestly. But I want to be optimistic too. I want to see NA do good, at least decent, get out, because I want to play Worlds too eventually. Hopefully, I can. They can flop this year, because the next year I'll go to Worlds, and then I'll be the hopium that we need.
Facts.
They keep flopping. Yeah.
First, you got to win Academy Worlds. And then
win a Proving Grounds, get back LCS, then me and we'll go straight to Worlds. I'll take him with me.
Hell yeah. It's actually kind of funny that like the meme before was like winning Academy Worlds. It does kind of feel more like that, like prestige at this point. Obviously, it's not like an international championship, but it does kind of feel like a bigger postseason at this point. Now the Proving Grounds is a thing, so I think that bit of it is pretty cool.
I'm very hopeful for NA just because I think that NA doing well would be good for Academy and Proving Grounds. Like really.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
it's like you look at like sports, like I was a golfer, right? When Tiger Woods was like on top of the world, like winning everything before, injuries and shit hit the fan. Golf was up like 20% year over year because kids just like wanted to play and be Tiger, right? And I think that like for NA, like I think NA having a good run at Worlds like would actually inspire some kids to be like, you know what, like maybe I will play the game a little bit more because I know so many talented kids, like especially being like a collegiate coach, where I had 2 players over the last few years that could hit Challenger in 200 games in any account, and they were done after that, right? It's like I couldn't give them the kick, right? And I think that like that would be a fun kick to just have in the scene. I'd really love to see that. So that's why I've got the hopium.
No, for sure. I think
No.
that's what I'm hoping to, because I think
Yeah.
at least for EU, I think that's why it's driving more people to watch that region, just because they're doing better at Worlds than a lot of teams. They're like making top finishes, like they're getting top 2, top 4, like actually making it far. And then people are just like, oh, I can do that if I just keep playing. And like EU is like I put them like Mad Lions and teams like that. I put them like top 4 contenders going in.
Yeah, Mad
I think
Lions
they
is
actually
crazy at
can
team
win.
fighting.
Yeah. So we'll see. But because it'd be crazy if EU won the whole thing, because
Yeah.
it would be a statement for
Yeah.
sure.
Especially without G2.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to say that you favor a Chinese team winning coming into this Worlds, but I don't know. I think it's like the fun part about the last couple Worlds is that I think that there have been clear good teams, but there hasn't been like a head over. Damwon was a head over heels favorite, but like there were going to be contenders, and I feel like it's kind of the same this year. Like FPX feels like the favorite, but it feels like there's also going to be some pretty fun contenders like at the tournament. So that's going to make good.
Yeah, I think Damwon last year was literally a different breed. I don't think there's a team like that going into this Worlds, which is I think better for the viewers, because Damwon, I think at least for me, I thought they were winning the whole tournament easily. Like how they were playing it was just gross. Like they were playing at. Because the thing with League that I always think is impressive is like the time of when you're good is like what I say like with Faker too is like back in like season 3, like Faker was so much better than the competition in season 3, like his first like Worlds win than everyone else. Like every time he won, he was just like Faker to this day, like back then is like obviously not that impressive, but like the time of when he actually won those things is like the most impressive part. Like Damwon is like similar case, like they were so much clearly better than every single person individually, and as a team it was like gross how good they were.
The shocking thing is too is that like it got harder in League to like be that dominant, right? Like as the game gets figured out, and I mean, it does change every 3 weeks, but it also like season 3 was a bit more volatile than what we have now, which is more focused on team play, right? And I think that League fans that might have picked up after season 3 will never really fully grasp how good Faker was in that tournament. It was a literal fucking cheat code. Like, remember what, like him playing like Riven in the Gragas mid and like Zed mid, and just like you're like it. No one else could do that, and he is bodying people like doing like consistent, like just
because at the time, like if you look at it now, it'd be like it's just like that, but like people couldn't play like that back then.
No one
like
figured that out.
No one could play at like the level he was playing at. Like even if you tried, like people tried to play him, and it was just like what he was doing was literally like unheard of, like plays. It's like that's why it was so crazy, because like his level of like mechanical prowess at the time was just like insane. And like similar player too was Uzi back then too. Like Uzi in that tournament was freaking insane. Like he was like 15, I think.
Piglet
that's
was
like
the only AD that could stand up.
Yeah, like that was like the story with him too. Like he came in and he was just doing things that no other player could even do. Like he was like you watch him play and it's just like, what have I been doing the whole time playing this game?
Yeah.
It's just like and that they really just like shaped the whole game, like how it evolved over time, and that's like the most impressive thing. I think like for at least for me from like a top lane perspective, I think like Nuguri did that last year. Like he was just clearly so good. And like you said, it's like even harder nowadays to get to that level and just like stand out, and it's like even more impressive. Like players like him and Canyon and even like Showmaker, like those 3 in that tournament were just freaking crazy good. It just didn't make sense how they could get so many leads and never throw the leads and always just be so consistently ahead and just really just control the game at every single point. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's pretty mind bending, but also like definitely drives like people as competitors, and I'm sure you to like figure that out. Like
No, for me, that's why I still
crazy.
keep getting motivated to play the game.
Yeah.
I've been around for the game since it literally just came out of beta. I've been watching and playing League for like 10 years, and like when I see stuff like that, it's like this is why I play. I want to be able to get to that level and like showcase that. And, like
Want to
I'll
be able
keep
to play
pushing until I get.
kleptomancy on every champion.
Like he's literally just a different breed, and
He just
that's like
doesn't
why
give a fuck.
why I play the game. It's just like to aspire to be that and just like try to get that good, and it's like insane and like awesome really to be able to witness that, because I know like I'm just grateful to like watch all like the levels of League that I've watched like throughout my whole time just throughout the scene, and just like seeing all like the evolution and like players, and yeah, I don't know, it's been crazy seeing each evolution of the players.
It's crazy to see, but like it's also fun to just like I said, like hear the fire, right? Because like you have been playing now for 6 going on 7 years, and like that keeping that fire is tough, and like it's fun like hearing you like talk so passionately about this stuff, because
No, the thing is, I've been like thinking about to myself too. Is like I was considering like maybe this is like my last year playing, but then I think to myself, I'm like maybe I try coaching, maybe I just like call it quits. But like I keep telling myself like I feel like I'm playing the best League I've ever played, and like why stop now? Like even if I'm not like in the LCS or like in a spot that people like think I should be in, or like people perceive me to be in right now, like my own personal like vision is like I'm playing the best I've ever played, and I think I can keep getting better. So like why not keep trying to like push that?
who gives
And
a fuck what they think, man?
yeah, because like for me, it's like that's like the thing that keeps driving me. Because I every year I play, I feel like I'm gaining something and gaining something, and like people stop because they like want more success, like want other things, other aspirations. But like for me, I just love the game, and I don't see myself doing it like anything else with like as much passion as I do right now. Like if it's like coaching, like I think I would love something like that too. But I really just want to be part of League because I just love every aspect of it, and I don't see myself doing anything for a long time if it's not with like League related. Because I hope this game stays around forever, honestly. Because at least for my lifetime, because it's like I put so much hours and time into it that I really want to like just keep making something of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And
Yeah.
I know we're at the hour mark, and I can't think of a better like note to end it on. That's
Yeah, I feel like we should
That's
just
neat.
like end this in like a group hug or something after that. That was just beautiful.
No, that's cool, and it's been really fun watching you compete this year, and also the improvement that you and your team has experienced. And fun to hear more about it. So, thanks for kind of chatting about that, and excited to see if you guys can follow through on your wish to win it all. Best of luck this week against FlyQuest. Do you know which day you guys are scheduled to play?
Friday 3:30 PST. Come watch us. You'll see it 2-0.
Yeah. Woohoo! Okay.
Sounds good, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that series. That is the series to watch for me. Like,
it's a really good round 2 matchup. Yeah. I
that's
want
really
to see 100 EG, but
that one's also
respect
that
one,
one's
yeah.
also sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Lourlo. It's been super cool catching up with you. Like I said, I've been a big fan for a very long time, so this is awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
No,
Yeah,
that
Means a lot. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Before we kind of sign off, do you have any thank yous or shout outs you'd like to give before we wrap things up?
Just my Twitch channel, I guess. Twitch.tv/Lourlo if you want to go check it out. So yeah. That's
We'll
about it.
definitely have the link in the description along with your Twitter and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Twitter's on the screen if you're watching the video or the Twitch stream or whatever. So check that out. And yeah, thank you so much for Lourlo. And thank you to anyone who has made it this far into the show. This has been episode 33 of the Proving Grounds Pod. You can catch us on Twitter at pgroundspod or all of our audio platforms at Proving Grounds Pod. We've got Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Twitch, Google, and Anchor. You can check us out on all of those. And we will hopefully be back next week. I know Proving Grounds starts like Tuesday next week, so
We'll probably there are like a couple lower bracket games, and then so we'll probably do it like in between the lower bracket games and the upper bracket games, which will probably land us on a Wednesday.
We'll figure it out.
So it's good
We
like going
will
a week.
figure
We
it
get
out.
this out before the game starts, so people can listen to it before that. And yeah, it should be a fun week. So
yeah,
already surprises week
You'll
one.
be hearing
See
from
what
us.
surprises happen week 2.
Absolutely. Please go watch Proving Grounds. The games are amazing. and you may see our good friend here, Lourlo, win the whole thing, which would be amazing. So go check that out, and we will see you in the Twitch chat. We'll see you then. Have a good night.